Dudes and dudettes, how are you guys? This is Chazzy and welcome back to Chazzy's Top 10. I haven't done one of these in a while. These videos take a long time to happen because I have to do a lot of research. First I have to choose a topic and then do research into it and come up with a bunch of stuff to put in a top 10 list, you know. But today's topic is actually very easy to do because it's about a sport that I really love. The only sport that I actually like, you know. So today is going to be about the top 10 footballers who ever played the game, or the top 10 soccer players, you know. I'm trying to appeal both to European and American audiences, so I'm going to try to say both soccer and football, you know, depending on the region that you live in. So today I'm going to be talking about who I consider to be the best, you know, the top 10 players, you know, who ever graced this sport. And this video might not be too long, won't be as long as the other ones because I don't know how much detail I can go into each one, but I'm still going to try anyway, okay? So, well, let's just get right into it, huh? Before I do though, let me just make one thing clear. I say this at the beginning of all of my top 10 videos, you know, but just say it again just to make sure you guys understand how it works. These are my personal top 10 favorites, you know. They don't represent an actual official list of the best, you know. It's just who I consider to be the best. So if you disagree, whatever, okay? Screw you, I don't care. It's my opinion, okay? I'm entitled to mine as you're entitled to yours, okay? So yeah, let's get right into it. Number one is pretty easy, pretty unanimous. A lot of people consider this guy to be the best player ever, Pele.
Real name Edson Arantes do Nascimento, is widely regarded as one of the greatest ever exponents of the sport. He helped become known as the beautiful game. He holds the prestigious record of being a FIFA World Cup winner on no less than 3 occasions, scoring 12 goals in 14 games at the finals.
Pele was a monster. Pele was a beast of a player, you know. He played his entire career for Brazilian club Santos and also the Brazil national team. And to this day, no other player in history has even come close to beating the records that he himself established. You know, for the time, he's pretty much like Lionel Messi for that time period. Because Messi today dribbles past a bunch of different players and scores the goal. That's what Pele did. But we're talking about the early 60s and the 70s, you know. Like, he was insane. He was crazy. He actually started playing in the late 50s, you know, where he went to his first World Cup and he actually won it for Brazil. He won a total of 3 FIFA World Cups, you know, in 58, in 62, and then in 70. In 66 we didn't win because he didn't play, you know. I think it was because of an injury, you know, so he didn't really perform too well, but we still managed to take home 3 FIFA World Cups, you know, in the time that he played, which was obviously really cool. You know, no other player in history has even come close to doing the same thing that he did, which I think is really incredible. It's very impressive, you know. It's a record that I don't think will ever be beaten. And he was a prolific goal scorer. He actually stopped playing at the age of 31. He retired while he was still in his peak because he knew people would remember him if he retired young, you know. And he stopped, and he had I think about 1,200 goals, you know. I think he's the one player who has scored over 1,000 goals so far in his career, you know. And for the time period, that was pretty insane, you know. And it was crazy the things he did. If you guys watch old footage of him playing, you're gonna see that it is unprecedented for somebody at that time to do what he did, you know. And I think it was really impressive, you know. It was insane. And it's pretty easy to place Pele here at the top 10. You know, all of the titles he won with Santos as well, you know, a club that has never even come close to matching his success, you know, with any other player, you know, not even with Neymar, who is like one of the best players of the modern generation, you know. But I think that Pele, because of what he did and the way that he played football or soccer, was incredible, you know, a style that was unique only to him, you know. And he is considered to be the king of football, you know, and I think it makes sense. I think it really makes a lot of sense, you know. Nobody has ever even come close, you know, so yeah, I think Pele takes home the #1 spot pretty easily. Next, we have a fellow Brazilian countryman, Garrincha.
VIDA Garrincha, the man who never knows who he's playing until the day of the game, and then someone has to tell him. Garrincha, the Stanley Matthews of Brazil. Down he goes to the byline, across comes the centre, there goes Amarildo, and it's 2-1 for Brazil.
In the Portuguese native tongue, we call him Garrincha, you know, which is kind of like related to hooking, you know, hooks and this and that, because his style of playing was pretty different, you know. For one thing, he was a little bow-legged. He had a few crooked, I think 1 or 2 of his legs were crooked, so he actually had a very strange posture, you know, but it didn't affect him at all. It actually made him play really well, you know. And it was crazy, the stuff that he did, man, because, like, I mean, Garrincha was insane. Garrincha was pretty crazy, and the way that he played was that like he developed his own style where he would stop with the ball in the middle of the field, you know, or the pitch, and then he would run forward. But the way he would keep the defender's concentration on him so strongly that like he would leave the ball behind and the defenders would go after him. it's like Garrincha would run without the ball and everyone else would follow him and the ball would stay behind and he would go back and, you know, pass the ball to someone else. It was crazy. You know, nobody else has ever done this, you know, that I know of. You know, he had his own different style, you know. And he and Pelé actually played together, I'm pretty sure. I think he was the number 10 jersey. Pelé made a name for himself in Brazilian club Santos, and Garrincha played in Botafogo, another Brazilian club, you know, and I do believe he was immortalized with the number 7 in that club, you know, and all the titles that he won. Probably not too much because Botafogo is actually well known here for not winning that many titles at all, but still a very impressive player, an incredible playmaker, you know, and he also scored quite a few pretty crazy goals, you know. Also, there's not too much that I can say about Garrincha because I actually don't know too much about him, not as much as the other ones that I'm going to say, but I still think he deserves a spot on this list and very close to the King Pelé, you know. Garrincha was crazy. He unfortunately stopped playing while he was pretty young too, but it's because of drug abuse and problems. He died really, really young, you know, and well, if he had played for a few more years, he would definitely have revolutionized soccer the same way Pelé did. I'm not sure if Garrincha ever won a World Cup. I think maybe he played with Pelé and they won together in 62, I believe it was, but yeah, you guys can look that up later on your own accord and see, you know, but in general, this guy was a monster and he definitely deserves a place on this list. Next, we have one of our biggest rivals within the sport, an Argentinian, Diego Maradona. Maradona was one hell of a player, you know. I actually recorded a video talking about just him, you know, recently because he passed away last month, and I wanted to kind of pay my respects and attribute and show a video about him showing goals and stuff, you know. Maradona was quite a goal scorer, you know. He was a classic number 10 jersey, you know, same as Pelé, you know, but I think Pelé was obviously much more complete, but Pelé was very, very offensive, you know. He was a striker, you know, and he scored goals in every single opportunity he could. Maradona was a little bit more of a playmaker, kind of like a Ronaldinho kind of role where he would score goals but also, you know, make plays, and he had a lot of vision to give passes and crosses, you know. So that's why he actually scored so many less goals than Pelé did in his career, you know, because he was more of a playmaker, he was more of a defensive style, you know. But in 1986 he won Argentina's very first and to this day only World Cup, you know, where he actually scored 2 very controversial goals that went down in history. One of them was with a hand, the other one was dribbling past many defenders and scoring what is known as the goal of the century, you know. And Maradona had a very controversial life outside of the sport, you know, with drug abuse, you know, and scandals related to doping and using illegal substances to give himself an edge in the game, you know. So he wasn't exactly an honest fellow, you know. He was actually kind of a douche, you know. He was pretty much a thief. He didn't really play fair. He played really dirty, you know. He did not really embrace the whole concept of fair play within the sport, but he was still a very amazing player, you know. And the things he did for the clubs like Argentino Juniors, Boca Juniors, Sevilla, Barcelona, Napoli, you know. He played for Newell's Old Boys. He played for a lot of clubs around South America and then went to Spain. And with Argentina, you know, he actually scored many amazing goals, you know. This guy was crazy, you know. He had a lot of really good vision and ball control, and he had his own little unique set of skills, you know, that really made him stand out, especially back in the day, you know. He started playing in 76 and retired in 97, I believe, you know. Recently, he died of a cardiac arrest. My heart goes out to his friends and family, and he definitely deserves a place here on the list, you know, because Maradona was crazy, you know. The titles he won, you know, he was considered to be one of two joint holders of the, I do believe it was the 20th century world player or something like that, you know. So Maradona was crazy and obviously deserves a place here despite so many scandals, you know, involving his career, you know, inside and outside of the sport. So there we go. Rest in peace, hermano. Next, we have a player who I don't know too much about, but I still admire and respect a lot. The Dutchman himself, Johan Cruyff.
Stuurt daar Krol op linksweg, dan komt de voorzet en is Cruyff is goal, dit is goal! 2-0! Wat een juweel van een doelpunt van Rens Ze brengt naar Krol, van Krol voor, precies op maat en Cruijff die schitterend scoort.
Johan was one of the best players of his generation, if not the actual best, you know. And like, I mean, Holland or the Netherlands, you know, they don't have a very long and rich history of players, you know. But that's why Johan shines so much, you know. He actually played for the national team for many years, you know, and also Barcelona. He also made history in Barca as well. I don't know exactly when he played. I do believe it was around the 1970s and 80s, you know, around that time period. I don't think he's still alive today. I think he passed away some time ago. But the thing with him is that he, along with the other Dutchmen, you know, in the Holland national team, they standardized the style of play that actually became unanimous with big clubs like Barcelona in recent years, you know. It's so much precision passing that it was ridiculous. And Johan had some really crazy crosses, you know. Like, he had such amazing vision. He was an adequate playmaker. He put the ball exactly where he wanted it to go. And, like, I mean, if you didn't score a goal with a pass that he gave you, it's because you sucked, not him, you know. Because the ball would always come so perfectly rounded, you know, exactly where he wanted to put it, you know. That is the definition of vision in this sport, you know. I don't know if he ever won any titles. I'm pretty sure he may have won a World Cup with Holland at some point, but maybe not. I didn't do too much research into this video. I didn't have a lot of time, guys. I'm mostly going by already knowledge that I have of these guys, you know. Johan Cruyff, he deserves a place here on this list because he was amazing, you know. He had incredible skill. And if you guys see Holland playing at the time that he did on YouTube, you guys can go check out some old videos, you're going to see how amazing their passes was, you know. They really knew how to play, you know. There was actually a name for them, the carrossel holandês, we say in Portuguese, you know, the Holland carousel, let's say, you know. And it was really crazy how they played, you know. Like, it was really hard to mark them because their passes were so perfect, so pinpoint and precise, you know. And they scored so many goals, you know, at that time. And the thing with Cruyff is that he also played for Barcelona, the club where he, you know, had a lot of success, you know, and he really influenced a lot of the players that we see today, you know, and especially the ones around him at the time, you know. He was really crazy. He was pretty much an old school Iniesta or Xavi, you know, who played more recently for the same club. And Johan will go down in history as one of the best players ever, even on my list, even though I don't know too much about him, you know, but he definitely deserves a place on any list talking about this topic, you know. And to me, the dude will always be incredibly talented, always amazing, you know. And oh God, I miss these old guys. I wish I could say a little bit more about him, but you know, I'm kind of trying to get the old guys out of the way first, you know, kind of follow kind of a chronological order, you know. But now after this, I'm gonna get to a few of the more modern guys, you know. Next, we have who I personally consider to be the best player who I have actually ever seen personally, Ronaldo. That's right, folks. I'm talking about the original number 9 Brazilian Ronaldo, not the Portuguese Cristiano Ronaldo. Ronaldo is a legend. Ronaldo was just, I don't even know how to describe this guy, you know, because Ronaldo, he had such a goal-scoring ability. He was a classic number 9 center striker, and he pretty much standardized the position that we know today, you know, because he scored so many goals, and he had such amazing dribbling skills, you know, and he he didn't exactly create, but he pretty much perfected the step-over maneuvers where you kind of do a few dribbles here and move your legs over the ball, and then you get past the defender, you know. It was really hard to stop him. It was really, really hard to mark him back in his heyday playing for Barcelona, you know, and also PSV. But I think that the two clubs that he most played well in was Barcelona and Inter Milan, you know, in Italy afterwards. And the thing is that if you go back and watch the old videos of him playing, you're gonna think like, how could you even stop this guy? Because he ran really fast. This dude was lightning quick, you know, and he had so much dribbling abilities that he could get past defenders in such a way. He scored a goal for Barcelona once where he dribbled past so many defenders, and they were actually holding on to his shirt and trying really hard to stop him, but they couldn't, and he actually scored the goal in the end, you know. Same thing with Inter. After that, he went to Real Madrid. He was part of the generation of the Galacticos, a lot of really good players playing together, but he started to kind of fall from grace a little bit, eventually ending up in Milan, but he already sucked at that point, you know. Went back to Brazil to play for Corinthians and ended his career in 2011. Now, for the Brazil national team, he actually won 2 World Cups. That's where he shined the most. He won in 1984, even though he was just a reserve. He didn't actually play, but he was still part of the squad, so it does count. 1998 is when he shined. You know, he took Brazil to the final, but unfortunately suffered a seizure, and didn't exactly perform too well. Brazil ended up being eliminated 3-0 by France in the final, and he actually suffered in Inter Milan a very bad injury in 2000. You know, he actually had to recuperate from it. 2 years later in the World Cup, and I believe it was Japan or Korea, you know, in the World Cup, he actually came back full force and won, you know, for Brazil. He won his second World Cup, scoring in almost every game, and scored 2 goals in the final, and that cemented him as one of the best players of all time, you know. And he was actually, for a time, in 2006, he became the leading top goal scorer for World Cups with 15 goals, a record that was later beaten by Miroslav Klose from Germany. He scored 16 in 2014, I believe, and it was pretty crazy. It was pretty crazy. Ronaldo had a very crazy career. It was extraordinary. Before he retired, he was allowed to play a kind of like an away game, you know, like, how can I say, a celebratory game, you know. In 2011, he came on with his number 9 jersey. He was really more overweight at that point. He really gained a lot of weight, and it was pretty crazy, you know. But it was a nice game. He didn't score, but it was cool just to see him, you know. The best player I have ever seen. I actually remember being a kid growing up in the 90s here in Brazil and actually following his career a bit, you know. Really cool, you know. Amazing player, phenomenal, you know. So much to say about him, and he will go down in history as the best for me. Okay, so next we have not only a fellow Brazilian, but also somebody who shares the same name as him, Ronaldinho Gaúcho.
Venga Ronaldinho, se marcha Ronaldinho, continúa Ronaldinho, Ronaldinho! ¡Golazo de Ronaldinho!
Where do I even start with this guy? Where do I even begin? Ronaldinho was not a footballer, he was a magician. The guy he had so many magic tricks up his sleeve, you know, it was crazy. And if you know this sport, if you know soccer or football, you know who Ronaldinho is, you know, and you know what he did in Barcelona, you know, that those years that he played for Barca were the best of his career, of any player's career probably, because this guy, it's crazy. Because he took what Ronaldo was already good at with the whole dribbling and this and that, and he took it up like 10 levels, you know. He had so many crazy dribbles that it was really hard to keep up, you know. Like, there are so many videos with different dribbles of his, you know, put together in a compilation that it is insane, you know. And he had such amazing vision and like pinpoint precision when it came to passing and taking free kicks and all of that. It was crazy. It was crazy. Ronaldinho was an insane player, you know. And now here's the thing. He didn't have too much success with the Brazil national team. He did win the 2002 World Cup alongside Ronaldo, you know. But other than that, he didn't really perform too well. You know, maybe a few friendly matches here and there, you know. In the 2006 World Cup, he was not exactly what he used to be, you know. But he was already starting to get into that partying and night lifestyle, you know. The thing with Ronaldinho is that he is the most like amazing, but at the same time most tragic case of an athlete that I have seen, because he was incredibly, like, at his peak at Barcelona, he was unbeatable. He scored a goal in pretty much every game, and he wasn't an attacker, he was a midfielder, but he was pretty much an attacking midfielder, you know, because he scored so many goals and had so many playmaking abilities, you know, and he was a prolific free kick taker, you know. Ronaldinho stepped up to take a free kick, like 9 out of 10 of the free kicks he went to take were goals, you know. Even towards the end of his career, he was still really good at taking free kicks. I don't know how he was so good, but he knew exactly where to place the ball, you know. But he started to, already in Barcelona and coming into Milan, you know, he started to develop a habit of going clubbing and going to parties and a very erratic night lifestyle, you know. And he pretty much embraced the concept of, I think it's because his father died when he was really young, so he kind of like, well, okay, you only get one life and you got to really try to take advantage of it, you know, live every day as if it's your last, you know. So he started taking advantage of the money he had and squandering it in these parties, in this crazy lifestyle, you know. Unfortunately, it hurt his performances on the pitch, you know, and he started to slowly fall from grace, you know. And it sucks. It really sucks, you know, because like he was actually whereas his countryman Ronaldo before him won 3 FIFA World Player of the Year awards, Ronaldinho won 2 and could have won a lot more if he had actually stayed at his peak and took the sport more seriously, you know. So it's really sad. It's really sad, you know, the path that he decided to take, but you know, you can't judge the guy, you know. I mean, it's what he thought would be better for him, so he left behind quite a legacy, you know, all of his plays, you know. This guy was incredible. He won so many titles with Barcelona, you know, and he actually did play against Real Madrid with Ronaldo and the Galacticos, and he pretty much mopped the floor with them every time, you know. It was so hard to stop Ronaldo, not even because of his speed, but because of his dribbles, man. You know, he would do some crazy things like the elastico and the inverted elastico, these crazy step overs, you know, so many different tricks, you know, and it was pretty much impossible to stop him, you know. He would sometimes create goal scoring opportunities and score goals, and you wouldn't even understand how it worked, you know. So this guy to me was just insane, you know. And obviously there's pretty much one of the best players I've ever seen. He's pretty much second best next to Ronaldo, you know. I did see him play here in Brazil. He came to Flamengo in 2011, you know. A few years later, he came to my club, Fluminense. Not this one, this is Chelsea, but my Brazilian club, Fluminense, which was really awesome, you know, really cool. I have a phone case, Fluminense phone case with my name and number 10 jersey. So he didn't really do anything. He actually did diddly squat. He didn't do a single thing for Fluminense, but it was still cool to see him, you know, with my club's shirt. So yeah, Ronaldinho. Next we have another Ronaldo, you know, just so many Ronaldos. Get all the Ronaldos out of the way here. But this one is a more modern player who's actually still playing today. I'm sure you guys know him and you love him. Cristiano Ronaldo. Cristiano Ronaldo is a machine, you know. He is a goal-scoring machine, you know. And this guy, lately it's been pretty divided, the community between Cristiano Ronaldo and Lionel Messi. I love them both, but I'm still gonna put Ronaldo first. One of the reasons is because I wanted to get on the Ronaldo boat, Ronaldinho, Cristiano Ronaldo, and also because I do actually prefer Cristiano over Messi. Cristiano is a crazy player, man, because he one day he just got into his head, you know, I'm gonna be the best player in the world, you know, and he trained so hard. This guy is a machine, you know. He trains and trains and trains and plays, then trains and trains and trains, plays, trains and trains. Like he's pretty much a workaholic, you know, in the field that he plays in, you know. And I think that Cristiano, I mean, he is a living embodiment, the perfect example of working really hard to achieve your goals, you know. Messi was born with the ability, Cristiano perfected it, you know. And he started playing his career for Sporting back in Portugal, and he eventually made his way to Manchester United, which, as you guys know, was where he slowly grew the ranks and became the powerhouse of goals that he was, you know. And he scored so many crazy goals for United, you know, especially free kicks. You know, the guy was a crazy free kick taker. He was taking free kicks that people have never taken before, you know, scoring so many crazy goals that you never seen. And he won a lot of titles for United, you know, the Premier League, the Champions League, you know, so many different titles, you know. And unfortunately, he never got too far with Portugal, except for in his more recent years. After United, he went to Real Madrid in Spain, and the rest is history. You guys know what happened from there, right? Became one of the best players in the world, you know, if not the best in my opinion, you know, and he became Real Madrid's all-time leading goal scorer, you know. So, I mean, and there was also the career rival with Lionel Messi, you know, and Cristiano for many years to me was the best, you know. He had a few little phases where he was a little douchey and arrogant, didn't really care too much, you know. He was very, very on top of the world. He was very conceited, but I still think he was a phenomenal player in his own right, you know, because of his dribbling, his skills, you know, and the way that he would hit the ball. He had such an ability of hitting that ball. It was crazy, man, you know. And the free kicks that he scored were pretty inexplicable as far as physics go, you know. Gravity doesn't work a lot when Cristiano went to take a free kick. With the 9 years that he spent at Real Madrid, you know, he won so many titles, you know, always bashing and clashing with Lionel Messi. And Cristiano, to me, is the complete package, you know. He just does everything. He takes penalties, free kicks, you know, he gives really great passes, he scores goals on his own, you know. He can play by himself, but he can also be a team player, a really incredible playmaker. And he never really went too far with Portugal except for winning the recent the UEFA Nations League, and I don't think he ever won a UEFA Euro, but maybe he did. But I know that he won the recent UEFA Nations League for the first time, you know. He's gone a lot further with Portugal than Messi has gone with Argentina, that goes without saying. And Cristiano is a powerhouse, man. He has a motor inside of his body somewhere where his liver is supposed to be, you know. He runs and doesn't get tired. He's always at the top of his game, you know. It's really rare to see Cristiano perform badly. He went to Juventus a few years ago, you know, a record 108 or 9 million euros or Libras, whatever have you call it, and it was pretty crazy. because he went to Juventus, and I haven't really seen too many games, but given his performances and the way that people talk about him and how he has been talking with the Real Madrid director recently, the president, I think he hasn't been performing too well. He pretty much just went because Neymar went to PSG and became the highest paid player in the world, and Cristiano didn't like it, so he wanted a bigger salary, you know. Kind of dumb if you ask me, but whatever. Cristiano will go down in history as one of the best players I have ever seen and the world has ever seen, no doubt. And he has won quite a few golden balls, Ballon d'Or, Golden Player of the Year awards. They keep separating the titles now. I think he won 5 or 6, you know. Yeah, one of those. But yes, Cristiano Ronaldo is number 7. Hey, what a coincidence. He actually is the number 7 jersey, and he's number 7 on my list. I swear that was a complete coincidence. I didn't plan that at all. Wow, that is crazy. Okay, now let's get to the one that probably everyone who's watching this video from the beginning is expecting. Right after Cristiano Ronaldo, it is only fair to include the one, the only, Lionel Messi.
By Mourinho, and this time Pep is the boss. But here's Messi, away from 2, 3, 4, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. How good is he? A near supernatural goal from Lionel Messi.
I really don't know where to begin describing Messi. Same as Ronaldinho. Where do I even start? Messi is... he's not even from this planet, is he? I don't think Messi is human at all, you know, because the way that this guy plays football or soccer, it is insane. One word, insane. That's all I can use to describe him, you know. Now, I do prefer Cristiano, but I do think that they're both equally talented, you know, in their own right. But Messi obviously does things that Cristiano can't, you know. Messi, back in the day when he was a little younger, had such explosive plays, you know, that it was insane, you know. And if you guys have seen any compilation of Messi's goals, you can see that what he does best is get past players. He dribbles past them so quickly that you can't even keep up, you know. Like he has lightning fast reflexes, you know. It's really insane, you know, because he gets past 1, then 2, then 3, then 4, then the goalkeeper, then he scores the goal, you know. It's almost like he can see a few seconds into the future and knows what's going to happen. It is really, really incredible. And Messi, to this day, Messi and Cristiano have both scored around or a little bit over 700 goals, so they are literally tied in that department. But like I said before, Messi has won more FIFA World Player of the Year awards or the Ballon d'Or. I think Messi, they keep separating the prizes now, but to make it easier, I think Messi has 6 and Cristiano has 5. I'm pretty sure that's how it is, you know. If not, I'll fix it in post, but yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what it is. And Messi played his entire career, for his entire senior career for Barcelona, you know, and throughout all the years he's been there, almost 15 years now, he has pretty much gone where no player ever has, you know, in history. You know, I think he might have even gone further than Pelé did in Santos, you know, because he won pretty much every possible title with Barcelona. There were 3 years where Barcelona were pretty much invincible. They won the La Liga 3 years in a row. You know, he won a lot of Champions Leagues, you know, and other miscellaneous titles, and he is the leading, obviously, he is the leading goal scorer for Barcelona, because like almost all the goals in his career were for Barcelona, you know. And Messi is the kind of player who I think was born to play this sport, you know. He was already born with the ability to play, you know, since he was out of his mom's womb, you know. There's actually a very touching story behind Messi, you know. When he was little, he was very glued to his soccer ball. Like, he refused to leave home if he couldn't take his soccer ball with him, you know. And he actually had a growth hormone issue when he was younger, where he had to keep injecting himself with a needle to actually play ball, you know, or grow fast or something like that, you know. Eventually, when he was a little bit older, he went into Barcelona's youth program, and the rest is history, you know. He played there with some of his friends, Xavi, Iniesta, Piqué, who eventually went on to become part of Barcelona's first team, you know. There's a very interesting documentary on Netflix called I think Match Day inside FC Barcelona. It shows you a little bit of how the behind the scenes is with the club and all that. Messi has become the face of Barcelona today. He is even more synonymous with the club than Ronaldinho ever was. And Ronaldinho actually, Ronaldinho was the number 10 jersey for Barca for many years. And then when Messi started to rise a little bit, he actually inherited the number 10 jersey from Ronaldinho himself, you know. Fun fact, Lionel Messi's first ever professional goal for Barcelona was from an assist by Ronaldinho. Very nice goal, a little chip shot. Messi is the master of the chip shot, you know, he's really good at it. He is also a pretty good free kick taker, but of course Cristiano was better, more frequency. And Messi is, he is insanely quick. He's known as La Pulga, which is the flea. He's really, really fast. He's the one player who I've seen who runs faster with the ball at his feet than without it. So it's really crazy, the solo goals that he scores. Like, Messi is a playmaker. As the years went by and he's gotten a little older, the explosions have diminished a lot, and now he's more of a playmaker, you know. He can he's kind of like what plays the role that Iniesta does, you know. He puts the ball here and there, you know, and he has amazing vision, a lot of really threaded through passes, you know. Messi is a complete player, you know. He is really, really crazy, and I honestly think that he deserves to be on this list. I know that he's almost at the end, but it doesn't diminish his importance at all. I'm just trying to do it in order from the oldest to the more recent, you know. And yeah, it's really, I can go on and on and on about Messi, you know, but he just, he has quick reflexes that allows him to score so many quick goals, you know. Just go on YouTube and look up any compilation of goals by Messi, you're gonna see how crazy he is, you know. Very, very humble, very down to earth, doesn't really fall too easily. Even if he's marked and you push and pull on his shirt, you know, he still gets through, you know, and he's really cool, he's very humble. Outside of the sport, he lives a very modest life, you know, doesn't really appear in the media too much, and he only does speak Spanish, so, you know, there's not really much territory you can explore there. Married to a beautiful woman, you know, has 3 kids with a 4th on the way, or does he have 2? No, I'm pretty sure he has 3 and might already be coming with the 4th. I don't know. These guys love having kids. But anyway, that's it. Lionel Andres Messi. Next, we have another Brazilian who actually won just one FIFA World Player of the Year award back in 2007, Kaká.
Here comes another Brazilian move. It's Kaká! It's terrific! It's the first Brazilian goal of the 2006 FIFA World Cup Finals.
Kaká had an explosion in his career when he went to Italian club Milan, which is actually my Italian club, the club that I support, you know. Now, there's not too much to say about him, you know, because compared to some of the other footballers on this list, you know, he's not exactly right up there, you know, but the problem with Kaká is injuries, you know. He was a really good player in his heyday when he was playing for Milan those first few years, you know, and he was crazy, you know. The goals that he scored, he was primarily a midfielder, you know, but he played in a really kind of like an attacking midfielder role, you know. He scored a lot of really good goals, and he was really good, you know, with penalties and a lot of really nice passes, you know. And Kaká was actually, he played for the Brazil national team in 2006 he went to the World Cup, but the same thing as 2010, but unfortunately didn't perform too well. He wasn't really useful to the team. 2002 he actually did go. He actually did win the World Cup in 2002, but he didn't really play. He was just a reserve, but it still counts, you know, he was still there, part of the team. And Kaká is part of the generation of Brazilians right up there with Ronaldo, Ronaldinho, Rivaldo, Roberto Carlos, you know, that generation who played a lot of really good ball, you know, and he kept going, you know, but the injuries really plagued his career, you know. He went from Milan to Real Madrid at the time of the years, and I think it was 2009 maybe. He pretty much got there along with Cristiano Ronaldo, but whereas Ronaldo exploded in Real Madrid, Kaká kind of imploded. He kind of like didn't really perform too well. He became more of like a reserve, you know, and was barely put into the play because of his injuries, you know. He had this really rare condition where like any injury that he suffered affected him more than any other players, you know. I don't really know how it works, but it was crazy. It was really bad, you know. It got to the point where like one simple small injury could keep him out for months, you know. And obviously if you're a player playing for a club like Real Madrid, staying out for months is not good for you, you know. So he ended up becoming very obsolete and more of a hindrance than actually a useful tool in the club, you know. But like I said, he did win 2006 World Player of the Year, the last Brazilian to win before the reign of Cristiano Ronaldo and Lionel Messi, you know. Very good at what he did, you know, and I think his explosion ended after he got to Real Madrid, but I still wanted to include him on this list simply because I really like the guy. I saw him play a little bit. He came to São Paulo some years ago, then went back to Milan, but didn't perform too well, and ultimately went to Orlando City to end his career there. You know, the club was founded in 2015 and he played their first game. He scored. The very first goal ever scored by Orlando City was by Kaká, you know, in their history, and it was a free kick. Kind of an ugly free kick, but it was still a free kick all the same, you know. Kaká a very nice guy, very religious fellow. You know, he was known for celebrating his goals, pointing to the sky, thanking God. You know, gave a lot of his money to religious organizations. You know, so yeah. So I think that Kaká is a good example of modesty on and off the field, you know, or the pitch. So I wanted to include him on this list here, even though I won't get into too much detail. So yeah, a lot of Brazilians on this list. You know, it makes sense for that to happen. And finally, last but certainly not least at all, the greatest dead ball specialist I have ever seen in my entire life, David Beckham.
Beckham to take. The 93rd minute at Old Trafford. Beckham! Yeah! He's done it! David Beckham! Fantastic! It's 2-2! And England may still be going to the World Cup automatically.
David Beckham, I mean, what can I even say about this guy? The winger that did not dribble. You know, he got really famous for that. And this guy, if you know football or soccer, you know who David Beckham is, but there's a chance that you know him more for his profile outside of the sport than inside, you know, because at one point he actually married Victoria Beckham. You know, I forgot her name before she got married to him, but she was a Spice Girl, you know, so his marriage to her turned him into an instant celebrity, you know, so everyone started knowing who Beckham was pretty much because of his marriage to her, you know. He still played a lot of really great football, you know, he played a really good. He had his own unique style of playing. You know, he started his career in Manchester United, one of the best players of all time in that club. You know, he pretty much he standardized the number 7 jersey, which was later inherited by Ronaldo and Cristiano. And the thing with Beckham is that he was an insane free kick taker. To this day, he is the best free kick taker I have ever seen. You know, right up there with Ronaldinho Gaúcho, Juninho Pernambucano, Roberto Carlos, you know, Cristiano Ronaldo himself, among a few others, you know. But still, man, the thing with him specifically is that he just knew where to put the ball, you know. He could bend it and put such an effect on it that he could pretty much score from a free kick from anywhere on the field, you know. It was crazy, you know. And it's just, he actually did score a goal from all the way in the middle of the field at one point, I think, or even before, when he saw the goalkeeper ahead of his line. You know, one of the most famous goals he ever scored, one of the best in the Premier League ever that I've seen. And Beckham, throughout the years he played, he actually ended up in Real Madrid at one point. You know, he played during the Galacticos era, you know, and then later, before or after that, he played a little bit, you know, in Milan, a brief stint there, you know, I don't know if he did too much. And eventually he ended up in LA Galaxy, which is where he really proliferated quite a bit, you know, because the fields or the pitches in the United States, and I get the impression that they are a little bit smaller than the ones they have in Europe, so he was able to score goals from literally anywhere, you know, even if it's from one goal to the other. He scored goals from crazy long distances, you know, and doing his classic free kicks and all of this and that, you know. So Beckham was amazing. Like, even if he wasn't exactly the best player, like defensively or offensively, you know, as he got older, and like if he was on your team and there was a free kick, you just knew he had to take it. If you're the manager and you let anyone else take the free kick, you're stupid if you have Beckham on your team, you know. And eventually he went to PSG, where he retired in 2013, you know. Yeah, a very emotional moment when he left, you know. He was crying and all the players hugging him, you know. It's always really emotional when a player goes out like that, you know. And he's still active today on social media. He does a few different projects. He has kids, you know. It's really cool to still follow him. He's well known for having tattoos on almost every inch of his damn body, you know. And one hell of a guy, you know, one heck of a guy. He took England pretty far in terms of World Cup, you know, but he never actually won. In case you guys don't know, England only won one World Cup in their entire career, despite being the country that invented the sport in 1966, but it was amid some controversy, so it's on your criteria if you want to judge it, you know, for yourself. But Beckham actually took England pretty far. I think in 2002 they got pretty far, but thanks to him, he scored a goal that either leveled or put them in front, you know, something like that. You know, he was actually very heavily criticized at that time, and you know, that it's kind of like his redemption arc. And Beckham is just amazing, you know, and I really like the way he played. You know, he took some really crazy long shot goals, you know. He was really gifted, very special, very talented, you know, and I really like him a lot. Just his name, you know, David Beckham, you know, it's just the way you say it, it rolls off the tongue so cool, you know. One of the best English players I've ever seen, right up there with Steven Gerrard and Frank Lampard and This other guy whose name I forgot, you know. There's another English player who I'm saving for the honorable mentions tab, so I'm gonna leave him to that. But yeah, I know Harry Kane is a recent addition to the tally. You know, he's been playing really well. England hasn't really produced a lot of too many good players. You know, in the Premier League you see a lot of foreigners coming in to change stuff, you know. But yeah, I think that's it, guys. I wanted to end it on this note here, talk a little bit about Beckham, you know, and I hope you guys enjoyed this list. And, you know, whether or not you agree or disagree, I hope you still enjoyed it, you know. Now let's get into the final stretch here, the honorable mentions. I have 5 players here who I think deserve a spot here on this list, even if they didn't actually make the actual list. Starting with England's very own George Best, a player who was active a long time ago. I think in the 50s or 60s actually, or even the 70s, you know, he was around that time period, you know, very, very talented. I think he may have actually been part of the team that won the '66 World Cup, you know, but unfortunately he had a few issues outside of the sport, you know, drug abuse and alcohol, you know. I think there was even a scandal where he was a little abusive towards women or something, but still wanted to include him on this list. After him comes a fellow Brazilian, Rivaldo, who was actually a refined player who played for the Brazil national team. He actually won the World Cup in 2002 alongside Ronaldo, you know, and prolific goal scorer as well, you know, played for Barcelona and pretty much revolutionized at his time, his generation. He was one of the best players, you know. It's amazing how many talented Brazilians have passed through Barcelona, you know. You have Ronaldo himself, then Ronaldinho, and then Rivaldo, Romario as well, you know, and then later Neymar, you know. You could also put Romario here on this list, but I didn't really see him too much. I saw a little bit more of Rivaldo, but you could maybe make this a Rivaldo / Romario. Pick one, you know, but I personally choose Rivaldo. And then we have Bastian Schweinsteiger, one of the best players that Germany ever saw. I think he was really, really cool. He actually won the World Cup in 2014, even though he had his face cut, you know, and was bleeding from the face. He still played. He's a monster, you know. This guy is really, really good. One of the best German players I've ever seen, if not the actual best. And then we have Kylian Mbappe, a more recent addition to the FIFA best players. You know, he actually won the World Cup recently with France at just the age of 17. He's a crazy good player, you know, and I really enjoy playing with him in FIFA, you know. And last but not least, my fellow Brazilian, Neymar. Probably a controversial choice. A lot of people don't like Neymar. They think that because he's too much of a show pony and he falls too easily, he doesn't really look like he takes the sport too seriously. But you cannot deny that Neymar plays a lot of ball. You know, this kid is really, really talented at what he does, and I had the privilege of seeing his career from the very beginning, you know. I think the only player who I've seen this happen, you know, especially Brazilian, I actually saw him starting to play in Santos, you know, and slowly rising through the ranks and getting better and better, eventually winning titles and making his way to Barcelona and today PSG, you know. I saw it all, you know, and he's the same age as me, so it's kind of like we're buddies in that department, you know. But yeah, that's my list, guys. That is my list. Neymar does deserve a spot on this list, even though he's young, but so is Mbappe. Mbappe is even younger than him. But I think that they have a good future together in PSG, you know, if Neymar decides to stay. And that's it, guys. That has been my list of the top 10 footballers who ever played the game. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you think I missed anyone, just let me know in the comments. Tell me if you agree or disagree, you know. So I hope that if you disagree, it's not by a huge margin, you know. I don't want you guys to rage on me, but that's it. I love this sport. I love watching. I've been recording gameplays of FIFA lately on this channel and on my other channel, which you guys can check out later, okay? My other channel is called Chazzy and Fe. I'm going to leave a link to it up here. It's completely in Portuguese, but we do a lot of football or soccer related content over there. We really like the sport, me and my buddy that do the videos, so that's it. I'm gonna go now because I'm really, really hungry. Also, it's my mom's birthday today. We're gonna go out to eat later, so I gotta get going. So that's it, guys. This is Chazzy signing out for now, and as always, I will see you all in the next video.